Today on Riffs, Beards, and Gear, I show you how to program MIDI drums using Toontrack Superior Drummer 2.0. I've always gotten a lot of questions regarding how to program MIDI drums, specifically using Toontrack Superior Drummer 2.0, but really this applies to any MIDI drum application, from Logic's built-in drummer plugin to the Steven Slate drums to just addictive drums. Just about anything, really. Anything MIDI this can apply to. It doesn't even have to be for drums, but for today's example, we're going to be using Superior Drummer 2.0. Okay, so you just heard the example, and I'm using the song that I wrote and kind of created for the Amplitude video that I did. And I think the drum track on this really represents the three ways that we're going to go over today. So the first way is to use stock grooves. Now by stock grooves, I mean the ones that come with Superior Drummer. You can get expansion packs, and you can get different drum tone expansion packs. And I highly recommend you do so, just because when you're stuck in a rut or you're wanting to play along to something just to lay down a riff idea, it's a really good idea to have lots of drum tracks to choose from. Now I'm going to go into the grooves. I'm not going to go over how to get good drum tones in Superior Drummer, because that's pretty, it varies from person to person. What I will tell you in the mixer is to bus and make use of the bussing that is available within the program. In the description of this video, you can download a preset pack that I have made available that will give you a couple of different kits to choose from. They're all based on the Avatar kit. Some of them require the Metal Machine expansion pack, and others do not. You just have to click on them and load them. And you can load them and use the one that I'm using if you want to follow along. So the first example on this intro of this riff, I used a stock groove, and I don't remember modifying it really that much. So I'm going to double click on this MIDI, and that'll bring up my MIDI notes. This is what is telling Superior Drummer what to play and when. This is a time grid, and if I play, you will see it just kind of plot away. Now, don't let that get too overwhelming for you. We're going to take it a step at a time, and it's really all about building up parts. I used a stock groove on this main part with the toms, but first I'm just going to show you what I would do if I didn't have this already. So I have the riff. Okay, so I'm going to go through Superior Drummer. I'm going to go through the grooves, and I'm just going to see what kind of thing I can find that kind of fits that. I know I don't want a lot of snare. I don't want it to, I want to build up the groove a little bit. I don't want to instantly go into a straight ahead kind of a thing. So I'm going to look for something that's kind of Tommy. No, not there. So that sounded pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and hold on the variation 4. I'm going to drag it right over. And I'm just going to set it there. Now let's see what it sounds like. So you can see I didn't really like that last fill. I wanted something more of like an August Burns Red kind of a thing. And I actually made that part. So you can see where the groove starts. I'm going to go right on this measure here, and I'm going to cut it. Just using a short key to cut. Your DAW will be different, and you can do this various ways in different recording programs. Due to time constraints, I am not going to show you every single step I did to program this, but I'll go over it. This part is time consuming, but well worth the results. And I think I kind of have an idea of what I want. I don't want so much kick. I'm going to try to maybe drag this up a little bit, see what it does. I'm gonna get rid of it's too much kick for me. I'm just gonna erase the kicks for now. So I want kind of a more straight ahead tom fill. So what I'm gonna do, now these bars represent a beat, obviously on the MIDI grid. So that's how you know where you're at. Now it helps to know the different beats and the various beats of music. You got a quarter beat, the 1, 2, 3, 4, then you have an eighth. Then you have an eighth note, which is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then you have the 16th notes and so on and so forth. So that's kind of getting there. I want a little bit of a kind of a stuttered roll kind of a thing. And there's actually, I'm just going to copy this note. I'm going to hold down the Option key and just drag it on over and see what it sounds like. Okay, we're getting there. To do the same thing to create a note. The best and fastest way I have found when editing MIDI is to just set your DAW for a pointer and set your secondary to a velocity. That way you can quickly copy and stretch, copy, and then you can hold down your command key and select the velocity or how hard the hit is on the drums. And you can start, I've programmed entire songs starting with one single note and never having to use my pencil to actually draw a note in. You just copy and edit, and so on and so forth. So that's sounding close. So that sounded pretty good. I'm gonna add a kick. Maybe, let's see what this sounds like. So I'm gonna add a kick maybe as a quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now on to the next section. This section I used no stock grooves. I pretty much had a beat that I knew I wanted for the song, and I just painstakingly programmed it by hand, which leads us to our second method, everything by hand, everything. And it's the most time consuming, but you have the most amount of control over the end product. And here's what that groove sounds like again. Now this way is the same way that a lot of guys like Misha Mansour and Keith Merrow and Ola England and all those guys, this is the way that is a tried and true method that doesn't take any external stock hardware, like a MIDI keyboard, which we'll get into in just a second. But it's also, like I said, the most time consuming. So what I'll do is, let's just delete everything. Okay. Now I'm going to start with one note. And I know my first note's going to hit on the one beat. So now it sounds like this. Okay. So now I'm going to switch back to my velocity tool, and I'm going to hold down Option, and I'm just going to drag the same note and just kind of get a general blueprint of what I want. So I know that, and this is just the process of what you do. Go up to my snare hit. That was a beat off. You can also take things a drum at a time. You can do just the snare. So if I know I want like a halftime feel to the snare, I'll just do the snares first. So another one will be right there. So now I'm going to work on the kick drum a little bit. So now that I have basically a measure, I can pretty much take this section of kick drums and copy it to the next section. And I'll just, again, hold down my Option on a Mac, just drag it on over. And I'll do that again and again. So now I'm going to work on the cymbals. Now I know I want the very first beat to have kind of a dual cymbal, a crash and a splash kind of a thing. So again, I'm going to hold down my Option key from the very first kick drum note because it's right where I want it to be as far as time alignment, and I'm just going to drag onto a cymbal hit. Okay, that sounds pretty good. I'm going to try that. So I know I want a steady hit for these cymbals. And so I'm going to, again, drag the same note and copy it. And see how that sounds. So that sounds pretty good, and that's what I do want, so. Let's see how that sounds. So maybe to mix it up a little bit, maybe I want the when the snare hit on the second time around, I want it to hit another cymbal. So I'll just drag that down into another cymbal. Okay. So now what I could do is I could go back to my tracking window, and I could simply copy and paste the same thing over and over again. So then with that, all you'd have to do is go back and add some certain fills or anything that you might want to use to mix things up. Basically, that's how you program something completely from scratch. Now, the third method is kind of a hybrid of doing everything from scratch, but using some tools to do that with instead of just the plotting with your mouse. And that is using a MIDI keyboard. Now, a MIDI keyboard is not a must, but it is a very inexpensive and effective tool. I use this Novation Launch Key Mini. It runs about $100. And basically the piano roll that you see in your MIDI music corresponds with the same piano notes on your MIDI controller. And this particular controller has some hotkeys. So like for instance, this is the kick and this is the snare. So what you could do is you could rough the notes in, and if you wanted to play along to the music, you could basically rough them in and then move everything over and time align everything if you wanted to do it that way. So let's go to our next section. So I'm going to arm this track to record. And I'm just going to record maybe a beat that I want to have in it. So let's try that. Okay. Totally sloppy, doesn't even matter. So now we're going to go into it. We're in the MIDI, and that gives you kind of a rough idea of what you want to hear. Everything's not lined up. You have to go and don't quantize everything too much, because then it sounds really stale and it's completely obvious that it's MIDI drums. But to start off, you can let's just fix everything and see how it sounds. So I know this is my beat. Okay. We're not worried about the cymbals yet. We'll do that last. Okay. So that gives us a really good blueprint of what we want. Now to add the cymbals, I'm again going to click the note, and in a Mac, I'm just going to Option drag. And then Option drag. But I want the notes on the cymbal hit to be a little bit more in quantity. So I'm going to play with more hits. Sounds pretty good. And maybe we'll add stuff like on that last hit, it goes to the China or something like that. So that's basically the three ways that you can program MIDI drums. A lot of people use, you know, as you get more serious, you can get fancier keyboards, and you can also even hire people to program drums for you. I oftentimes, like for example, my new record, the Fire Breather EP, when me and my buddy Nick Pierce from Unearth were demoing stuff, he would pre-program drums and then send them as an example of what he would actually play in real life. Now he is an actual drummer, and he is very, very good at MIDI drum programming. And you can, I believe you can hire and pay him to program stuff for your drums as well. I'm sure he would be into it. But at any rate, I hope that helps. If you guys have any questions in the description, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching.